Gym Dad Fitness. Today we have the weigh-in for Carnage by Nutrifitt pre-workout. This is just the rage flavor. See if it really rages. I got the Pillager shirt on because even though we stopped the Pillager reviews, we still keep on pillage. Isn't that right, Audrey? Here, come over here.
Oh.
This is Audrey, young Dreezy. Show me your muscles. We got a fresh bottle here. I'll have Audrey mix up for me after we weigh it in. This one right here, Audrey, this is the non-illicit stim, so we'll get into label breakdown, but this is going to be a hitter for those days to take a break from those crazy ones, you know? Remember that Halloween one and stuff like that from Coco Labs? That was crazy, wasn't it? That's a crazy one. Okay, so what we do is we got to weigh out the scale. So we get one scoop there, fresh bottle. Comes in at 20.12 on a 16.8 grams. So about 20 grams, 16.8, about 3 grams over there. And then that thing wasn't even heaping at all. So a little heavy on the scale, so you might want to weigh it out. Get into the taste. It's like no like dyes or anything like that. Smell it. Does it smell good? Can't really have you sip. Big grown-ups only. Got to be 18 to play. 18 to play. Yeah, really good. It must be like, what flavor do you think that is? Tastes like almost like a fruit punch.
Maybe like lemon strawberry.
Some sort of punch of a type or so. Tastes like a. You think Juice of the Jungles?
Yes.
Let's go with Jungle Juice. We'll go with that. So Nutrifitt Carnage, a little hefty on the scale on the way in. So if you're, I'm sure stim junkies out there will be just fine taking a nice little rounded scoop. But if you're not too, if you're a little sensitive on the stems and you're purchasing this product because you're trying to stay away from the heavy stimulants, might want to weigh your scoops out first. But let's get to the effects. Gym Dad Fitness. Today we have a pre-workout for you on Nutrifitt Carnage. This is my first, as you see, I got my lineup of all my pre's on the channel. Actually, second not pre that doesn't have any sort of DMHA, DMAA, Junglist, Araya. This one does have Alpha Yo though, but we did the BH2K. That was the cleanest one I've done so far. But I was thinking to myself, I got all these labels of pre's I've used, but since doing the reviews and delving even more into the stim junkie experience, I've always been a collector, and now I have all these bottles that you guys don't get to see. And so I pitched an idea to my wife, hey, let's go to Menards, let's put up a little like trophy or like display case for the kids' room when they get older, aka my office/review room. And she obviously was like, yeah, you want this for your pre-workouts. I'm like, yep, that's damn straight, but it's gonna be versatile. Let's say when maybe eventually I'll move it to a bigger room once this channel gets running, and then they can have this bad boy for a trophy case. But for the time being, it's gonna hold my supplements. And I have the Carnage pre-workout today. We did the flavor review. Obviously, tastes freaking amazing. The grammage was near the mark, if I remember straight. And for these non-stim DMHA, DMA ones, I'm just going to scoop this thing back. Depending on how I feel, I might take a little bit of a heaping. If I want to get hit a little bit harder, if I want to just kind of have a nice smooth ride, I'll just do the level. But either way, you'll enjoy the experience on this one. I've ran this a few times now. Let's break into the label right now. So to start it off, we have I usually don't delve into the vitamin complex at the top, but they do put niacin at the top here, which is 40 milligrams, which is kind of on the higher end. That's what causes like some people have reactions of like flushing in the face, cheeks, like maybe even, I don't know, arm. I don't know. I've never really experienced anything too much. I felt like slight like warmth in the face and hands and stuff like that, but nothing too severe. But I kind of like the nicing here on a non like I want to call this a non-stim junkie pre. This is a we'll get into where this fits, but on a pre that doesn't have those crazy stimulants in it and things like that, it's kind of nice to have that nicing in the party there. So I don't mind it. We'll get into how it affects there, but it's a pretty big label, so we'll kind of fly through it from here. Citrulline, 6 milligrams, which is a pretty juicy 6,000 milligrams, pretty juicy amount there, which has become almost an industry standard at the 6,000. We'd be freaking out a few years back. Beta alanine, 3.2. Biotin, 2.5 grams. Taurine, kind of an all rounder there, 1 gram. And then EndoFlow. It's a combination of different types of roots and whatnot, and barks and extracts and things like that. We'll see this is a part of the symbiotic pump and strength matrix. So we will see how that plays out there. And then we have the energy matrix. This is what we're all here for right here. We have 400 milligrams of caffeine anhydrous. That's the only source right here, just a straight caffeine anhydrous. That's a pretty solid dosage. We like to see, I mean, personally, I like to see around 300 to 400. I'll give it a shot at 400 to 500, but once we start getting to the 550, 600s, I'm usually out on those pre's like bare knuckle. I mean, not bare knuckle, hooligan. Well, I got it. It wasn't for me. I ended up using the whole tub, but just not my thing. I'd rather have a little bit more of the exotics and less of the caffeine. And then we have ginseng root extract here, and then we have synephrine. Then we have I skipped Halostatian there. We've seen that come up at a lot of these energy matrix. A big fan of that one. And then we got yohimbine. This is just the standard yohimbine, not alpha yo, at 2 milligrams. So this can add to the sense of urgency, but not give you the crazy side effects. You might get slight side effects, but it's like alpha yo's gentle younger brother. And then we have the alpha yo at 1 milligram, which is a nice solid dosage. It depends on the sourcing on how we feel it or not, but we've seen it as low as like 1.5 and it just absolutely slap. And then we've seen it up to like 4 to 5 grams where you can hardly feel it depending on how all the synergy of the products mix. Like I know Edge of Insanity I think had like 5 in there, but like it felt you definitely it felt like a lot of alpha yo, but it didn't feel like anything over the top just because it had that whole freaking gram of GABA to cancel it out. So 1 gram there. And then the focus mate, they have a let's see here, let there be focus matrix there. The finishing off this choline and tysine is kind of like just all rounders. Those are like the vitamin shop type focus ingredients, like things like that. That just you see those in any pre workout you get over the counter at like any of those wholesaler sites and places that sell the wellness type pre workouts. And then the absorption matrix there to wrap it all up. But they got double the usually see one or the other. They have the estrogen and then the black pepper extract, but they give you both there, so extra absorption for you. And let's get into the effects of this one and where this one kind of falls. So overall, I took the drink. It hits like you think it would hit with a caffeine beverage. It kind of comes in slowly, doesn't just slap right away. The alpha yo and nicene definitely help it, kind of like get you up and get you going early on. That kind of comes in to play within like the 25 to 30 minute mark. This one was a little bit more of a builder than I thought it would be. The first time I took it, it probably didn't really peak until I was like doing my first set. And to me, personally, like this, once I get rolling, I'm good. But I want that thing to be peaking when I'm like getting ready to hit my very first set. And for this one, the first time I took it, I think I was like, okay, there's no exotic stim, so it's not going to need 45 minutes to build. But then today I took this thing before doing this review. I took it about 30 minutes out of my workout this time, and it hit perfectly on the timing. And it does it like it just like it kind of it's kind of surprising that there's no junglance or ryogenesis, kind of how this thing comes in and builds. And but it really takes about 20 minutes to 25 minutes for all to come together. But obviously, you're going to feel some energy early on, just like you would drink, like if you chugged a Celsius back or something like that, you'd feel some early on, and then it kind of slowly builds in. It's definitely not a slap right away, and you get all that energy within 15 minutes, and then you better get to the damn gym because it's gone. And but this one, yeah, so it builds up, and then it's a nice, well balance of focus. There's a lot of aggression, in this pre. I took this thing in 2 different occasions and 2 different like mindsets. One time, rough day, selling house, previous house, bad health inspection, or not health, bad report back from the inspection or whatever, just pissed me off, comments, things like that. Use this bad boy to channel in that rage and use that rage for the workout. Today, great day, awesome day. Used this thing, still got a good rage effect, but still also had like a little bit more euphoric, just because I felt better today. So I was able to lean into that euphoric. It's like sometimes we try to fight those emotions of the pre. You got to lean into it, man. You got to be willing to mix up the music. If you're feeling the anger, don't get all pissed off. Like not pissed off, but don't get bummed out saying like, oh man, I wanted a happy dancing pre. This isn't for me. This isn't my lift. I'm gonna throw the white flag and just never use this one again. No, lean into that, man. Get yourself some good tunes. Diversify this music too to kind of fit the pre in the background bit. So this one I kind of had it in two different mindsets, and it hit well both ways. And both times, a lot of power output on this bad boy. It kind of reminded me of when everyone's Alpha Lion. A huge fan of those guys until they got really big and mainstream. I've kind of strayed away from their products, but the last one I had was right when they took out the DMHA. I think it still had, maybe still had Araya in it, but it kind of reminded me of the first original Araya Superhuman. I haven't had Superhuman in a while, or the Superhuman Extreme, but it kind of reminds me of the Superhuman Extreme, just like a very well-rounded pre. It's got a good little mix of euphoria, good little mix of anger, great pumps. Uh, Flavor's good. That's a little added bonus there too. But yeah, just it can't miss. It's one of those ones in the arsenal. Like obviously, like most of you stim junkies out there that have collections, most bigger than my collection. Beyond like this is a very modest one compared to many people I've seen. And I got more downstairs too, and I got some in my deep freeze as well. So these are just some of the ones I've just reviewed lately, and that's what I'll kind of do. I'll just put the ones I've reviewed lately. But this is a good one to have in the arsenal because you can plug this bad boy in between days, and it's become one of my ones for like. So I mentioned like Edge of Insanity is like the DMA pre-workout's best friend because it's used for those days when you are really wanting that illicit feel, but you don't want to take a DMA type pre because you're saving that for tomorrow or the day you just took one the previous day. This is one of those ones where you need to lay off the the illicit feels altogether. You need to step back and reevaluate life a little bit, but yeah, you still want something to slap you and wake you up. Like this thing is going to hit a lot freaking harder than BH2K. BH2K right there, that thing is like more of like a all around like health product. Like if you're just wanting to completely, if caffeine just doesn't work for you, that's the one I would recommend. But if you're a big caffeine guy and caffeine settle, I metabolize caffeine very well. So 400 milligrams is perfect for me for this one. Yeah, kind of where this one scores after like breaking down the effects and just overall, just like I mentioned, just all around great pre across the board. I this one I do my scoring. I had a category for just like non DMHA DMA pre's. This one would have to be like nines and tens across the board. But I score it based upon what's available, not what's FDA approved. And so based upon what's available, I would probably give how I'd score this thing. Pumps a nice solid like 8 or 9. I mean, all you got your citrulline, and then you got the EndoFlow little matrix down there, the biotin and stuff like that. That's going to help out with some pumps, strength matrix. But like really, you could stack some pump pills on this. Get a little, throw a few nitrates in there, get a little vaso action going on, and so yeah, it's still very good for that 6 grams. So I'll give it about an 8 or 9, somewhere in there. I'll put my chart up on the screen. It's all relative as far as scoring. Overall raw energy, this thing packs a punch for a non-stim junkie pre. Like I'll give this thing a 9. Like I was training with some straight like ferociousness. Like this is another one of those pre's that kind of matches the label. If you see the label, we look like got like a little wolf going on there, just straight animal. And you're gonna feel like that when you're training on this thing. You're just gonna be ferocious in the gym. And so like that won't surprise me for a non-stim junkie pre. I'd give this thing up to a 9. And overall like euphoria a 7. It's like what I said, like it kind of like depends on your day you're having. I had a more of a euphoric experience today when I was in a better mindset, and then the workout before when I had a little more difficult of a day, I had a more angry mindset, and I just leaned into it, changed up the music, put on some stuff that really get me wanting to pump some iron, and toss that weight around, and just be a fucking wild wolf in that gym. And overall, so we hit the euphoria, we hit the raw energy, we hit the pumps, and that's about it for this one. I think that this one right here is an awesome breed to obtain. It's been around for a while. I always wanted to give it a try. I've been getting all these stim junkie pre's because everyone wants to review the hitters because those are the ones. It's like baseball in the freaking early 2000s, man. I made this comment on Reddit, and it's a pretty good comparison. I just randomly made it. I've never heard this anywhere. It's like everyone wants to bitch about the playing field not being fair, but it's like when Sammy Sosa, Mark McGwire, those juiced up boys show up on a Sunday night baseball, everyone tunes in to watch, and that's the same thing with these hitters. It's like people complain about hidden ingredients on these labels, and it not being it's not being fair to the consumer to hide those kind of things, but at the same time we're all clicking the buttons and watching and taking the products, so that we all know, most of us at least know, that we got to have some of these babies to enjoy these babies, because we can't take these hitters every day, otherwise what do they become then? So Nutrifitt Carnage, pick this one up. I snatched it from Sup Central. A lot of sites have it. I'll put my code below for this one. But like and subscribe, give me a follow. And yeah, I always forget about that kind of stuff at the end, but no, it's keeps the channel growing, and comment and stuff too. I love the interactions, and reach out to me on Instagram if you have any additional questions on products and things like that. But Nutrifitt Carnage, definitely pick this one up, add it to the arsenal, plug and play on days when you need to take a little break from those hardcore stims. Jim Dad Fitness, we'll see you later. I get my final thoughts on Carnage. Just watch I'll watch the recordings back, see if I missed anything. And no, I mentioned the Nicene amount early on in the start of the review, and how my thoughts and feelings on that. With the no Alpha or Arias, Junglands, DMHA, stuff like that in there, I thought the Nicene and the beta alanine added we like to feel our pre-workouts. Like, I feel like we like to know that something's brewing and something's going on. And I felt like that made a nice little combination that, us stim junkies that have various pre's, and when we do those non-high stim days, we take it, and it's like we're patiently waiting for something to kick in, and then when things don't just quite have the get up anymore, we get a little bummed out. And so I feel like with that Nicene add on the higher edge and the beta alanine, I got no flushes at all, over the top. It just kind of it made it have a bit more get up early on, and let you know that something's there and that you're feeling something, that something's brewing. And I definitely felt that. I wasn't expecting it the first time I took this thing. To be honest, the way they put the Nicene at the very top, I completely missed it. That was even in there. But I love that combo. I know some people don't like the fleshy feel of it, but I don't know, maybe something about how it digests when there's not so much going on stimulation wise. It settles in a little nicer and easier. But yeah, it definitely adds a complex that you actually feel it. But overall, just I think I don't want to drag it out too long here. I just want to make sure I covered that. But very solid, well-rounded pre, definitely worth snatching. It's one of those ones that's going to be around for a while, because nothing on there. As long as it's selling and it's still coming hot off the market, it's gonna be available. So one of those ones you want to pick up and just add to the arsenal and plug and play on those days when you want to still feel something but need to lay off the crazy illicit stimulations. But all right, well, that wraps it up for me, and I don't want to drag this thing out too long. But Carnage pre-workout's a hitter. Jim Dad Fitness, subscribe. We'll continue to try to discover some more of these daily drivers as well.